Hello friend, welcome to Java Puzzle, and today we are going to talk about circular dependency. A circular dependency occurs when a bean A depend on another bean B and the bean B depend on a bean A as well. Of course, we could have more bean implied, like bean A depend on a bean B, then bean B depend on the bean C depend on the bean D, and then bean D again depend on the bean A. So what happened in the spring? When the spring context load all the bean, it tried to create bean in the order needed for them to work completely. Let's say we don't have a circular dependency. We instead have something like bean A depend on the bean B, then depend on the bean C. So there is no any circular dependency. So in that case, a spring will create bean C, then create bean B and inject bean C into it. Then create bean A and inject bean B into the bean A. But with a circular dependency, a spring cannot decide which of the beans should be created first, since they depend on one another. In this case, a spring will raise a bean currently in creation exception while loading context. It can happen in spring when using constructor injection. If we use other type of injection, we should not have this problem, since the dependency will be injected when they are needed and not on the context loading. So let's take one example. So I create one project circular dependency, and if I will run this, so you will see there is no any fancy work is there. Inside the pom.xml there is only a spring web and a spring test, and JUnit also is there. So only these three dependency we use there, and we will try to understand what is a circular dependency. So it's running properly. So let me stop this, and now let me create another class which name as a circular dependency A and mark as a component here. Inside this class I'm going to use another class dependency B. So let me create another class also which name as a circular dependency B. Also I'm going to mark as a component, and inside the dependency A let me add the circular dependency B, because class circular dependency A is depend on the B class. So I'm going to use that, and then we will going to implement the constructor injection here. So firstly private circular dependency B circle B, and here inside A we are going to use our constructor. So public circular dependency A, and here inside it we are going to pass the circular dependency B and circ B. Okay, then inside the constructor we are going to complete that. So circ B is equal to circ B, and let me auto wire this. Fine, let me copy this, and same we have to do in the case of dependency B class. So now we have a two class, circular dependency A with a dependency of B class, and circular dependency B with the dependency of A class. So now I have to test this. So For this, now we can write a configuration class for the test, like let me call a test class as a test config, and here mark as a configuration. But before moving to the test configuration, let me show you what will happen here. So if I will run this program, and this is a problem, right? This is a circular dependency where it's showing that a circular dependency A is depend on the circular dependency B, and circular dependency B is dependent on the circular dependency A. So this is a circular dependency. Now same thing I will show you with this test our JUnit. So configuration is here. Now let me add the component scan. Currently we don't need to use this component scan because all these classes are present in this same package, so we don't need. But yeah, in any case, when the different class is there, and then we have to pass a scan for the package, so that's why I just show you how you can do that. So now finally we can write a JUnit test to check the circular dependency. The test can be empty since the circular dependency will be detected during the context loading. So let me go inside the test here. Let me create one test class. We can use here run with, and here inside it we have to pass a string JUnit for class runner dot class. Guys, if you want to a separate lecture on the JUnit, how to test JUnit test on our API, just comment below. I will create another separate video on the unit testing. But now you just have to see how we can test the circular dependency using the JUnit. So here now we have to use the context configuration, and inside it we have to pass our class, and here our class name is a test config dot class. Then inside it, now we are good to create a test here. So just use annotation test here and make one public method, public void given circular okay. Now it should be the empty test, right? It should be empty test. We just want the context to load. So if we try to run this test, we will get the execution, and inside the execution you will see that in the below you will see this error creating bean with name, the class name, and requested bean is currently in creation. Is there an unresolvable circular reference? So now how we will deal with this circular dependency? Now we test our circular dependency, we see which type of exception you will receive there. So as in the starting I will tell you that the exception name is a bean currently in creation exception. So this type of exception is occur when the circular dependency would be in your project. So how we can deal with this problem? So now I will show you some of the most popular way to deal with this problem. First one is a redesign. When we have a circular dependency, it's likely we have a design problem and that the responsibilities are not well separated. We should try to redesign the component properly so that their hierarchy is well designed and there is no need for circular dependencies. However, there are many possible reasons we may not be able to do a redesign, such as legacy code that has already been tested and cannot be modified, not enough time or resource for a complete redesign, etc. If we cannot redesign the component, we can try some other workaround, like you can use the lazy annotation. So in the lazy annotation, you just have, it's a simple way to break the cycle is by telling Spring to initialize one of the bean lazily. So instead of fully initializing the bean, it will create a proxy to inject it into the another bean. The injected bean will only be fully created when it's first needed. So to try this with our code in our class circular dependency A, what we have to do, we have to just add one annotation @lazy from the Spring Framework context annotation. Now if I will save this and try to run the test, so you will see this time our test is pass. One of the most popular workaround Spring documentation suggests that we have to use setter injection. So simply put, we can address the problem by changing the way our bean are wired to use setter injection or field injection instead of constructor injection. This way Spring create the bean, but the dependencies are not injected until they are needed. So let's change our class to use setter injection and add another method to circular dependency B, so we can make a proper unit testing. Okay, so in the circular dependency A, what I have to do, I have to just commenting this. We don't need constructor injection here. We have to use setter injection, right? So for this thing I have to create a setter and getter for this. So let me make it a generate getter and setter, and okay, and here what I have to do, in the setter we have to auto wire this, right? Auto wired. So now our circular dependency B gets a B, and this return the object here. Then we are using the setter with the circular dependency B, and this dot this. So this one is fine. Now go inside the circular dependency B here, again comment it out this, and let me just use the setter here because we don't need to getter here, but we just have to set here. So let me generate that setter here, and okay, so now we have a setter method, auto wire this. Okay, now we implemented the setter injection in our both of the classes. Now for the testing purpose, let me create one variable here, private string message Java puzzle. Okay, now let me create one method to retrieve the value of the message. So public string get message, and here just return the message here, right? So now we have to make some changes to our unit test also. So let me open the circular dependency test. Now here what we have to do, we have to auto wire our application context. So let me auto wire that application context, application context, and let me auto wire this. So here we just auto wire here. Okay, now we have to create a bean of a getter bean of our circular dependency A and circular dependency B, right? So let me create a bean also for both of the class. So let me create public circular dependency A get circular dependency A, and inside it just return the object of circular dependency, right? The same thing, and mark as a bean also. So after that let me create a bean for the circular dependency B. So just change it to B, make it a B, and B here. So we created the bean for the circular dependency A and circular dependency B. Now we are going to test our circular dependency here, and now test after the implementing the setter injection is working fine or not. So let me create a object of circular dependency A here. Okay, and circ A is equal to context, application context, right? Yeah, application bean, and here just pass the circular dependency A dot class, right? Then here just use assert dot assert equals, and here just pass the puzzle, and then just check that it's currently providing the message or not. So circular B dot get message. So if I will run this program, test case is running, yeah, it's showing the green, right? Another way to break the cycle is to inject a dependency using auto wired on one of the bean, and then using the method annotated with post construct annotation to set the other dependencies, right? So our bean could be look like let me go inside the dependency A and let me comment these also, and here what I will do, I will just auto wire this thing, this circular dependency B, right? And then I'm just using the init here initializing. So public void init, and here just use circ p dot set circ A, and this I'm just pass here and post construct this one, right? Then just use this getter method, but I have to comment this. So now our circular dependency A is 10. Now open the circular dependency B, and here what we have to do, this one is fine, the string message is here, then we just have to remove this auto wire from here. So set circ A is fine here and string message. So and we can run the same test and like what we run here, so same we can run now, and we can check that the circular dependency injects exception is still not being thrown, and that the dependency is properly injected. So let me show you with the run that. So now you see that dependency injection circular dependency exception is not occurred this time. Then there is a fifth one, is to implement application context aware and initializing bean. So if one of the bean implements application context aware, the bean has access to Spring context and can extract the other bean from there. So by implementing initializing bean, we indicate that this bean has to be do some action. After all, its property have been set. In this case, we want to manually set our dependency. So our code looks like, if I will open the circular dependency A, so what we have to do here, we have to implement a application context aware. Then we have to implement the initializing bean. So after implementing these two interface, what we have to do, we have to override implement some methods. So here you will see there is a two method, is after property set and set application context. So just go with it. So it imported that two method here, right? So let me comment the previous things, so or let me clear that also. So we have a clear code and we will write our code from the scratch. So here now we override these two methods. So what I have to do, firstly let me make a dependency, circular dependency b object here. So private circular dependency b circ b here. Then here we have to create a object of application context here. So private application context here, okay. Then create a getter dependency here. So public circular dependency b get circ p, because directly we are not going to call this access this variable, so just return the circ p here. Fine. So now this time what we have to do, inside the after property set method, we have to get a bean of the circular dependency b and set inside this variable. So circ p, and how we will get the bean from our application context. So context dot get bean, and here circular dependency b dot class. So this one is the after property set method, and inside the set application context, that time we have to just pass this application context with our context variable. So here the context is equal to application context. So that's it for this circular dependency. Now inside the circular dependency b, let me check, is there let me remove this one, right, and let me check is any changes required here. So circular dependency is fine, message is Java puzzle, then this one should be auto wired, remove that. So yeah, this one is fine and this one is also fine. So again we will run the previous this test here, and This time also you will see, if we will run the previous test, this test, and see that the exception is not thrown and the test is working as expected. There are many ways to deal with the circular dependency in the Spring. We should first consider redesigning our bean so that there is no need for circular dependencies. That's because circular dependency is usually a symptom of a design that can be improved. But if we absolutely need circular dependency in our project, we can follow some of the workaround which I show you here. So if you think this video is helpful for you, so please share this video with your friend on your social media, subscribe this channel, press the notification bell for more video. Thank you.